Hello everyone, so in this today's video we will be going over what hydro bubbles are, how to activate them, and when to know when you have reached the max 10 stacks when you are using this new mechanic for water. So first of all, let's go over which powers actually give you hydro bubbles. So tsunami strikes gives you hydro bubbles for every combo. You have aquatic Arsenal, which is a melee combo that gives you hydro bubbles. You have ebb power movement as well, which also gives you bubbles. You also have water spouts, which is another melee move, which also gives you hydro bubbles. So there's quite a few moves with water itself, which gives you hydro bubbles, which may be confusing for some of you who might not know what is a hydro bubble because it is new in the game, and how to activate it and how to know when you have reached the maximum stacks to be able to use certain powers which uses hydro bubbles to give off damage. So now first of all, let's ignore high tide for now. I will explain what that is in a minute. But first of all, the move that uses hydro bubbles or uses hydro bubbles to do damage is dehydrate. As everybody knows, in the past, a dehydrate used to use supercharge to give off damage. Now that has been removed, and now is something called hydro bubble stacks. So now when I go into combat, you will notice when I hit tsunami strikes or any of those other moves I mentioned, which have the combo abilities like aquatic arsenal, ebb move, water spouts, they once you use his abilities and the combos, you will get hydro bubbles show up. So the hydro bubbles will show up on dehydrate as a yellow circle going all the way around, and once it's hit the 12 o'clock, which is the middle, that means the hydro bubbles are at the maximum, and that is when you can use hydrate. Here is an example of how it works. Go into tsunami strikes. So this tsunami strikes is a ranged move by hitting tap range 2 times, and the cooldown is 1.5. So you need to keep a watch on your loadout and hit into your tsunami strikes. Because if you do not, this is what happens. Now I'm going into weapons because I did not check my loadout to keep on hitting tsunami strikes and hitting a combo move. And as you can see, I've got 2 bars. I just had 2 bars on the dehydrate move when I was in tsunami strikes. As soon as you stop attacking, those hydro bubbles are removed instantly. So you need to stay in your combos to get the hydro bubbles. So this is how it works. You see, with every stack, I get more hydro bubbles until I'm at the maximum stacks. There we go. Yes, the damage isn't that high because I don't have no artifacts. This is a new tune, okay? So this is just showing you the mechanics of water and how they actually work. So let me go on a single target so you can actually see the damage. And one more. And it's there you go. So that is how the hydro bubbles work. At the moment, there's only one ability that actually uses hydro bubbles to do damage. I'm not sure if they are going to change that or not, but we will see in the future on what they actually do with water if there are any further updates or tweaks they might use. So now high tide, how it works and what abilities actually use high tide. So let me get rid of everything in my loadout so I can actually show you when I hit high tide which abilities actually use high tide. So aquatic arsenal uses it, aqua lance uses high tide. Let's see what other abilities use high tide. Yep. So drown is a supercharged generator that also uses high tide. That is for the healing side, so ignore that for the moment. And crashing wave also uses high tide, but the effect is not removed, so let's not worry about that at the moment. And so let's have a look at these. There's so many people here testing water. It's crazy. But anyways, so when I use my high tide move, you will see my abilities will turn yellow. There you go. So the two that I use or will be using the crits associated with high tide, because it actually says high tide deals damage over time for the next 8 instances, and then this also will do additional effects over time as well. Where is Shark Frenzy that also uses high tide, but you have to be careful that you don't use high tide within the 8 second duration, because if you do, which I will show an example of right now, you won't be able to use it again. So high tide, use any ability. There you go. Now go into Tsunami Strike to reduce the cooldown. There you go, and hit it again. Now because I've hit it too soon within that 8 second duration, none of my powers in my loadout turned yellow. So that is one thing you need to be careful of and time perfectly, okay, to ensure you always get that high tide damage, okay. And this also works with the healing side of things with high tide. So you have abilities such as Soothing Mist, which is your priority heal, Mending Wave, which is a 4-man heal. Then you also have Pool, which is a supercharge. So upon using this on your 8 members, it gives a bubble shield to all of your 8 group members, all because of High Tide. So if you use High Tide in healer role, and then I use my next ability, that would have applied the actual um, critical heal that I needed, and then that removes a high tide ability right there. And to get the cooldown again, same principle. You use Tsunami Strikes and go back into High Tide and use whatever move that you need. So that is pretty much it. The only thing that is not affected by High Tide in healing, from a healing perspective, is probably Solace of the Sea. Okay, so I believe that is all for the video. Sorry I can't show actual numbers of this, but you can probably check out LV, who's probably testing this right now um, on Twitch, or if he's streaming on Twitch. But he'll be testing this out right now, so you can check his videos out on the builds and whatever you need. So that is all. As always, like, comment, and subscribe.